Welcome, everybody, to another episode of Elevation 740, produced by Jetta Media and hosted by the LC Valley Chamber of Commerce. My name is Mark Losh, and I'm your host today. And my guest today, I'm very excited about, I need to read this to get it correct, is Jeremy Stevens from the Union Gospel Mission. And I'm going to read what's from your LinkedIn. So I'm reading as if you were saying this. Passionate nonprofit leader with over 13 years in logistics and community service. Currently serving as the director of the LC Valley Union Gospel Mission in the Northwest, where I work on initiatives to help people facing homelessness and addiction. My previous experiences include interim director for the Women and Children's Rescue Shelter and 10 years at UPS, where I developed strong operational customer service skills, committed to making a positive impact in the community. My mission is to lead and serve with love, honesty, and joy, prioritizing my family and creating intentional moments, connection in our community. I seek to inspire others, cultivate life that reflects in God's goodness. Thank you so much for being here. I've got to come to a couple of events. The doors are close to open. Are they open today yet?
Yeah. Well, first, thanks, Mark. I'm so glad to be
Sorry,
here.
I'm really excited to talk about this.
No, I love that. Yeah, you're in it.
Yeah.
I'm really grateful to be here in this opportunity to just get to know a friend. So thank you.
You're most welcome.
Yeah.
So those that don't know about the Union Gospel Mission, give us a little history. Tell us the story, because it's a great one, and it's kind of long, but you got lots of time.
Yeah. So the Union Gospel Mission, LC Valley, is connected to a much bigger ministry that I think some people don't know.
Mm-hmm.
We're not a startup here, but we're actually expanding out of Spokane, Washington. And so 1951 is when we were founded. And so being 2026, we're celebrating our 75th anniversary as a ministry, and which is very exciting. And so since 1951, which started out as a men's day shelter, just food, essentially, that turned into an overnight shelter, that turned into a program that eventually led to, we now have 3 women's shelters, and then including Lewiston. So 5 total shelters, 1 men's shelter in Spokane, 2 women's shelters in Spokane, a women's shelter in Coeur d'Alene, and now a mixed gender shelter here in the LC Valley.
How long have you been in Coeur d'Alene?
We have been in Coeur d'Alene since 2012.
Okay.
Yeah.
So there's 2 different, from my understanding, there's 2 different things that go on here.
Yeah.
Someone can come to you and say, I'm ready to change.
Yep.
They have to be clean.
Yep.
They have to be at that moment sober.
Yep.
But then after that, there's other opportunities. So let's talk about the first phase first.
Yeah.
And talk about the new building and the structure and how it works.
Yeah.
Because people think it's just where people can hang out and it's going to have a lot of homeless hanging around. And that is not the story at all. It is totally different.
Yeah. Whenever we have someone come to us, and there's always assumptions, and there's reasonable assumptions. We invite the public, especially in the Spokane area, to come and see. We're not hiding anything. We say, come and see our shelter, come and see the sidewalks, come and see the businesses that are next door to us, because we operate in a different manner than most might think. And so kind of 3 terms that we like to clarify is a no barrier shelter, a low barrier shelter, and a high barrier shelter. And so the no barrier, kind of picture it like there are no barriers to service. So you can come in for services and you can be high, you can be intoxicated, and services are there. The other low barrier service means there's a low barrier to the service. So you can't use on site. Typically you can be under the influence, but you can still receive services. And then the high barrier shelter, which is what Union Gospel Mission in the Northwest is, we require it to be a sober facility. And so you must come in and conduct a urinary analysis, and then also a breathalyzer to be in services. So before anybody comes in, those are 2 big things that we ask. Are you sober? When was the last time you used? And can you pass a UABA is one of the questions. And so that is one of the things that separates our shelter, our mission, from, I would say, many other shelters. Yeah.
10 people walk into your building.
Yeah.
Of the 10, how many of them are ready to pass a high barrier?
Yeah. I'll speak from Spokane.
Okay.
Kind of.
Yeah, it's our history there. We don't have history here yet.
Yeah. Most I would say most of the community, the homeless population or those that are fleeing domestic violence, they know about us.
They know the rules.
Yeah.
Okay.
Word gets around really quick within
Sure.
the population of the accountability that we have and the culture we have. And I would say too, Mark, if you look at our UGM, the G is Central, Union Gospel Mission, and the G is the biggest letter. It's the capital letter of our mission, and so we're a faith-based mission. So beyond the sober part, word gets around too. We're also faith-based, and some people they wouldn't like that. They don't want that, and it's not something that we force on anyone. But people become very aware that we are a faith-based ministry.
So it almost has its own filters out on the community because they understand what you do and don't do.
Yeah.
And they know they can't push the envelope or make changes.
Yeah.
You mentioned something quick about women abused.
Yeah.
Talk about that, because that was what was fascinating to me when I went through the big breakfast we had like 2 or 3 weeks ago and the opening there. But yes, you're helping folks come in that want to change their lives, but you really have a focus on women and kids.
Yeah. And since if you went back to the conception of Union Gospel Mission, it was 1951. So men are coming back from war, alcoholism, women homelessness. It wasn't a thing. It was, but it wasn't. And over the years, to see where we've gone, we've stayed at one men's shelter, now 2, including Lewiston, and to see the growth of women and children's needs it continues to be an impact on society. And so dealing with domestic violence, women also getting put out on the street, evictions, there's a lot of different things. And so our shift has gone to where the need is, and women's needs continue to grow. And so that's what our ministry has done, is to continue to build in as we see the needs. We want to meet those needs. So the women and children are really important to us. Yeah.
It's the depth of what you do, we probably can't cover in this short time.
Yeah.
When people drive by and see the new building, which is a beautiful view, I mean, you're on the river, you got the fencing up, you got everything in place to control and have the rules you have in place.
Yeah.
But talk about the buildings. Talk about what's there, because you originally were hoping to just do one building, but everything keep changing to where, oh no, we can add this, now we can add this. And so talk about the logistics and the land and the buildings.
Yeah, so the logistics of just where the site is located was really important to us. One, for zoning purposes, to meet the city's zoning requirements. And we're not far from the Blue Bridge, which connects us to Clarkston. And because of the state services that people are on, Washington is somewhere that they want to be rather than Idaho. That's just a fact. And so for us to be right across the river, in walking distance from a lot of the population that we will serve, that location on Snake River Ave is so ideal for us. And then to be right downtown in Lewiston, so some services, Chaz Medical Clinic, Snake River Ave Clinic, there's Job Solutions that are downtown, and including the Department of Labor. They're all in walking distance, which is really, really important for our population that we serve. And then as you look at the site itself, we have the north building is our administration building that also houses classrooms. It has a chapel, a childcare area. And then as you move into the middle of the site is our 96-bed housing facility. And so 48 beds on our bottom floor for our men, 48 beds for our women and children up on our top. 10 of those rooms are separated for our women and children specifically. They have their own room when they check in. And then that south building is our cafeteria space where we get to provide 3 meals a day and nutritional meals that a lot of our people that we get to serve, they don't have access to all the time. So it's a really unique site that we've set up. And then I like to say this too, Mark, is that we have common spaces for all of our individuals that come to us. And so the women and children have a gated space in the back area that will just a common space that they can go to. And
Outside.
Yep, outside. Our single women will have their own space that's gated. It's protected. So children aren't allowed in there. Men aren't allowed in there. And then our men on the south end, they have a space where we eventually will have a gazebo and a space that they can be outside and be away. And again, it's just that privacy. Honestly, it's bringing back dignity to a person.
The design is intentional in every square inch of those buildings. Because I got to tour quite a bit.
Yeah.
Talk about the beds upstairs, because you guys designed your own beds. You manufacture them yourself. Talk about that that structure, because it's private but open.
Yeah.
But not metal bunks looking in a barracks.
Yeah.
It doesn't look like a shelter.
Yeah. Yeah. I have to give credit where credit is due. And so we partnered with the mission out of Everett, Washington.
Okay.
And a little bit of the backstory of these bunk beds that we have that you're referring to is, and this is true in most shelters around the nation, is that you have your typical bunk bed, bottom bunk, top bunk, ladder that goes up. And oftentimes the population that we serve, they can't get up on a top bunk. And so let's say for our shelter, you have 96 beds, but really only 48 are usable because a lot of our people are disabled or have a hard time, elderly. And so the design actually came out of going out into the population and asking through a survey saying, why aren't you in the shelters? And the first one was, I can't get up on a top bunk. So I have to have a bottom bunk. The second one was, I don't feel it's safe in the shelter and I don't have my own space. And again, it's open to, typical shelters are very open. It's kind of a warehouse feel. And then the third one was, I don't have anywhere to put my stuff. And so our beds have a locker space, and then they have a railing that just 4 stairs that go up to a top bunk that people can get up. And then in each space also has a charging station for their phone, for their iPad. And then I always like to tell people this, is that every single bed is the exact same size. Every locker is the exact same size. Because believe it or not, there's a lot of politics that happen in the shelter of wanting that space next to the window, or that bed's bigger, or that, you know. And so we've designed a space where we've eliminated a lot of that.
So if you can imagine this, people, when you go into that space, it's you go up steps to the top, and then you just slide right in.
Yep.
And then the bottom, you just slide right in, but it's the steps take you up. So the top bunk is actually separated somewhat from the bottom to where you're not just leaning over looking at people. It's I hope the public goes and takes a tour. And that's and then the space you have for the women who have kids, you put a big double on the bottom with a small bunk on top. And I heard them talking about that was, well, when they've had so much, they have no trust, so much stress, those kids are going to want to sleep with mom. So it's great to have that bunk on top, but you have a bigger space in the bottom. The chapel. The cross with the nails. And all of that. Talk about that piece of artwork, because that is an amazing piece.
We have a staff member on site. It's actually our VP of resources, Steve Ellison, and his cousin did a master's thesis, and it was a project for her, and she did this beautiful artwork where one side of the cross has Old Testament scripture running throughout, and it's a lot of the prophecies of the Messiah. And then in the right side of the cross, it's all of the fulfillments of those prophecies being Jesus Christ and how he fulfilled those prophecies. And in the middle of where the cross is located, which if you can picture with me, this huge cross with hundreds of nails, and then there's red paint representing the blood of Christ. And in the back of that cross is the book of John that is written from the very top to the very bottom. And it's all handwritten very beautifully. And so she did this piece of artwork, and originally it was in their own chapel space at their home in Oregon. But through learning about UGM and what we were doing and the space that we were creating, she saw fit. I wish I could remember her name right now, Mark. We have a plaque with her name on it.
It's okay.
But she saw fit that cross would be a perfect place for our chapel, and so we love it. That it's up on it. It's a beautiful piece.
So you've had Jane Doe come off the street. Sober, high barrier. They begin to see some self-worth, and they say to you, "What's next?" So the next step is the part that I don't think people know about for
Yeah.
18 months. So let's talk about that.
Yeah. Yeah. Thanks for bringing that up, Mark. So we have several avenues in the ministry that it's our 3 R's: rescue, recovery, and restoration. And so rescue is what we're doing here initially, of stabilizing someone, making sure they're safe, they get the 3 meals, they have a bed, clothing, and then relationship. We start to begin the relationship of what are their needs. And oftentimes we identify that within homelessness, that there is substance abuse prevalent. And so when we are able to identify those root issues, we have a recovery program. So move into the recovery piece, an 18 to 24 month program. And that's located at our Spokane facilities and our Coeur d'Alene women's facilities. And that's an opportunity to address those root issues, because oftentimes we say, like, we want to help someone with housing, or we want to help someone with a job, but we want to help them keep housing. We want to help them keep a job. And those take a lot of time. Think about somebody coming out of this situation. Addiction doesn't happen just 6 months and then all of a sudden you're looking for. We're talking years and years of generational addictions that are passed on that we're trying to help with. And so 18 months sounds like a long time, but when you think about it, when it's been 5, 10, maybe 20 years of addiction, 2 years of your life to get back the rest of your life, it's not that long. Mm-mm. And so our recovery programs, they go through and they address those root issues through biblical principles, but also we utilize a tool called the Genesis process, which is a relapse prevention tool. And so we're addressing a lot of trauma and wounds of why do we do these things? Mm-hmm. Why does the brain, when it's triggered at a certain point, have to go to a substance to cope with? And what we want to do is to actually provide healthy ways to cope with the stress and issues of life, how to deal with conflict resolution, the pain that has happened to us in our childhood. A lot of those things come up in the recovery program. And then the restoration pieces is that we provide 3 years of aftercare. And so at each of our sites, we have aftercare housing where we provide it's essentially an apartment or a several bed house, multi-bed house that the residents get to move into. So they're a part of our, what I like to say is they're in the tree, but they're out of the nest.
Okay.
And they have the supportive services. But then what's really cool, Mark, is that because they're in the recovery at this point, 2 years typically, they begin to give back. They're mentoring others that are coming in. They're testifying, going, I was in the same place. You can do it too. I mean, how amazing is it? How encouraging is it when you've had issues, struggles in life, when somebody comes along and says, hey, this is what happened to me, and it sounds very similar to what you're going through. And if I did it, you can do it too. That kind of support is really, really incredible to witness for other people too. It gives them hope.
Yes.
In a place of hopelessness.
Yeah. And it's someone they'll listen to because it's
they know.
Clear.
Yeah.
And it's not just recovery. It's we're going to help you with job skills. We're going to help you with training. We're going to get you a resume. We're going to get you your documents. We're going to get you trained. Our goal is that when you're done, you are a society providing with work, taxes.
Yeah.
You're a full-fledged part of our society giving back with pride.
Yeah.
And self-worth.
Yeah.
And hope and self-worth seems like the biggest from the beginning. It's hope. We give hope.
Yep.
And we're going to build self-worth.
Yep.
And we're going to help you with your demons.
Yep.
So now that we understand what the mission is and what you do, what's next in the Valley?
Yeah. Yeah. As we've opened our doors for residents to come in, there's still a lot of work that needs to be done. And so there's still outreach. There's people that need to know about these services as much as we've done with churches, within the region, even including police departments. We want to continue to get our resources out into the public. And over the next 6 to 12 months, we're really focusing on moving people back into our recovery services. That's our goal. As the transient population, it happens that they come in, they might go back out, they might come back in. we want to see them permanently housed. We want to see them. And so that's going to be our goal, to continue working with the population that we're serving. And there's a lot of housing needs, Mark. And so a lot of what we want to do is to partner with those agencies that are doing this hard work, with contractors and making sure that we have low income housing in the area. It's one of the big questions that we continue to get. Great, you're here, but what's next? How are you going to house these people? And so those partnerships with Catholic charities, low income housing, property management, those need to be continually built over this next year as we've established ourselves. That's including in Moscow Pullman, because some of our people will come from the surrounding regions. And so just to answer your question more directly, it's to establish those partnerships, and it's to continue to build this community that we can together, not just UGM, but provide for the people that are needing services. And that includes a lot of housing.
So you're just really scratching the iceberg here. You're just getting started.
Oh, yeah.
How did you come to be in this position?
Yeah.
What's your story?
How long do you have, Mark? My goodness. You know, my wife and I grew up in Lewiston, and so this is home to us.
Okay.
And we left on purpose. We planned never to come back. We said when we headed south, we stayed in Pocatello for a season before moving into the Coeur d'Alene Spokane area for almost 10 years. And when we moved into that Spokane Coeur d'Alene area, we had gone through training, school, education, and my wife became an addictions counselor with UGM. And so in a lot of ways, I rode her coattails into UGM.
So it's your wife's fault.
It's my wife's fault. Yes,
Okay.
absolutely. And we fell in love with the ministry after when she began working with the women in Coeur d'Alene. We love the local church and everything that they provide, but we saw where God really wanted to work was within UGM, and we just felt called. We felt a very strong pull towards this ministry. And when we heard that UGM back when I think we first learned about UGM coming to Lewiston in 2019, and so over the years of city council meetings, we started following. And eventually I was at a training that UGM provides for the Genesis process that I had mentioned, the relapse prevention tool. And when we sat down with Phil to hear about his vision for Lewiston, I pursued him very hard, saying, we're the ones to go back and establish this. That's home for us. It means I even get emotional thinking about it. Like, it means something a little more to us than anybody else. And so to have two things that mean a lot to us, our home, in a lot of ways, it's redemptive for our own personal stories to be back here. But then to have UGM, the reason, it meant a lot of sense to us. And so I was able to spend almost 2 years in Spokane before moving back, being in the shelters, being at our women and children's shelter, working with the men, and really getting involved at a boots on the ground level. And so I feel very comfortable in this season right now of working with residents. The season I wasn't comfortable in was the build project management piece. That was all new to me, but I'm really grateful for that opportunity as well.
There's some key individuals in UGM that are from this community that fought for this.
Yeah.
Can you talk about that a little bit?
Yeah. The name Rich Copeland, and he's gone to be with the Lord, but he was a major part as to why UGM is existing in Lewiston. He was a board member in Spokane for years. He led The Rock, which was a mission out in North Lewiston that many people were aware of, a low barrier shelter that closed its doors. And again, just a major reason as to why he had a vision that we would have hope and for the homeless here in addiction. And then the board members of The Rock that are now board members with UGM, Mike Fosbury, who was a state policeman and had a vision to help the homeless, to help those that are addicted, was a huge piece as why UGM was established here. Lachelle Rosenbaum, social work professor at LCSC, Gordy Gregg, who was the chief of fire department people that are working in this industry that see some of the worst and have a huge heart of compassion. And then I have to mention Ken Miller, who's now on staff with us in Spokane, but was a huge piece as to why UGM came to Lewiston. They fought pretty hard for Lewiston to be established with UGM. So those are major contributors as to why UGM is here.
I'm going to put you on the spot a little bit.
Yeah.
You probably have been asked by the business community of, well, why is this good for us?
Yeah.
Can you give me an answer?
Yeah. I think I'd like to first start with our mission statement, and that is the first part is to partner with the in the Northwest to reach the poor. And so that's a major piece of just who we are at a foundational level, is that we partner. We are in a neighborhood, and we want to be a good neighbor. That's that piece. And so, for businesses, and I'll speak kind of to Spokane area, for businesses that have to be downtown, that have established themselves, they may be in relationship with the homelessness issues that are happening. So if a person needs a restroom, oftentimes, guess where they go? Into a local business. And for us to partner with local businesses saying, hey, you don't have to offer your services because we're here now. So we want to establish those relationships going, if you are having any issues with any individuals in the area, that's where we can come alongside you and say, hey, this actually isn't a problem. We want to build this relationship with this person because they can come in and receive services. We have the bathroom. We have the food. We have the pathway out of homelessness. And then, with our partners down on Snake River Ave, there's been some apprehension, rightfully so. We're a homeless shelter. We're working with people that are working through addiction. And as we come alongside them and just in the same manner of saying we're a service to provide for people that are underprivileged, that are working through issues at a different level, that we're here to help. And as we relieve the healthcare system of people needing services, as we relieve the businesses that are not meant to help in this scenario, I think they'll begin to see how we are benefiting the community of, helping clean up the streets. But there's a whole other piece of the puzzle here, Mark, is that these are people. Mm-hmm. And I would say our statistics in Spokane County show that around 80% of the population we serve, and we expect this here too, are from the region. So we're not helping non-locals necessarily. A lot of our people that come to us for services are people that got evicted, or people that are living in their cars, people that are working, that are trying to get back up on their feet.
Couch jumping, all of it.
Absolutely. So we expect the same percentages to be true here. We do serve people that come from out of the area, but I would hope that as we serve them, that they begin to be register voters of the community, that are taxpayers, that are part of our community, And I could keep going on with this, Mark, but our vision for that is that the resources that we're going to provide is for the community. It actually benefits because we move people back into employment. We move people back into housing. We move them off the streets. We move them out of dangerous scenarios. And so I hope as people continue to see the impact that we have, and after this next year that we get to release, X amount of people have come out of homelessness, X amount of people have gone into housing, job employment, all these things that we get to say, this is why we're here. This is the work we're doing.
I think people have a fear of camps and tents outside and all of that, and that's not going to take place.
Yeah. And we can say that's proven because of our Spokane campuses.
Yeah,
this isn't a startup,
Yeah.
We have very strict policies with the people that stay with us, and our community knows it. And when I say community, the population that we serve, the unhoused population, they know what we expect. And so we will do our due diligence that, the park across the street, Kiwanis Park, will maintain a family feel. I have a family myself that will want to enjoy that park. And so we plan on to do community service projects with our residents to go and clean up the park along Snake River Ave, to go and be a good neighbor and clean up the sidewalks. And anybody that causes issue, we will have direct relationship with, and they're a person. And we're trained in conflict and de-escalation tactics. And so to begin with just having a conversation, and if it becomes an issue, a community issue, that's where we involve the authorities. our local police departments to help us with that. And they have the means to go beyond that, but our hope is to never get to that point.
What I've learned so far is you have a very set of rules.
Yeah.
And these are what they are.
Yep.
And there is no gray area.
Yeah.
And it's either this or not.
Yeah.
And because the population understands that, they tend to. I've experienced the people that have been in an area that do not have rules, do not have structure. Once they start seeing structure, understand it, and see the structure is for them, they actually want it and like it.
Yeah.
It helps with recovery to have structure.
Yep.
We have so much more we could talk about maybe another day.
Yeah.
What are some things you want to leave with? What would you like the community to know, and the business community and the residents of this Valley of One to know?
Yeah. Yeah. Valley of One. Yeah. Thanks, Mark. You know, I think what I continue to see in this community is that there's a lot of good intentions, and the more that we can come together with those intentions to serve, to better the community, the better we'll be. You mentioned a community of one, and I think everyone looking at the situation within Lewiston and Clarkston with poverty, we want to see those people helped. We don't want to see them in the Port of Clarkston living in trailers. We don't want to see that as a community. And so to come together to solve the issues is actually how we do it. And so the invitation is to actually partner with us in this endeavor. We are set out to end homelessness. I would love to work myself out of the job, but we don't need to be here, right? But we need partners to do that. And and what I like to say is three things: is that's time, talent, and treasures. This is a nonprofit that is not government funded, so we take no taxpayer money.
Talk about that a little bit more. I wanted to bring that up, and I forgot.
Yeah.
There is no debt.
Yep.
And there is no purse strings that control what you can or cannot do with money.
Right.
In oversight. You are 100% privately funded, community funded, and that property is debt free.
Yep, completely paid for. Yeah, which allows us, exactly like you're saying, which allows us a lot of freedom to do what we need to do. And the reason we're not government funded is, first, it is that high barrier status, the accountability pieces. That's as important to us. And we can do that because we're not government funded. You'll see with other shelters that are, there's regulations that they have to meet. The other thing is we want to make sure that the community wants us here. And that's the other piece, is that we are business, individuals, families, grants and foundations. That's how our funding comes in to provide for our operations and these build projects like down on Snake River Avenue. And then it's also, we're a faith-based organization. We want to freely preach the gospel of Jesus Christ to those individuals that come through and allow them the invitation. It's never coercion or manipulation. It's just an invitation. And so those are very big pieces to who we are and at a foundational level.
I think it was 3 weeks ago that you had a Saturday morning event.
Yeah.
And you set some tables up. And then you set some more tables up.
Yeah.
And then at one point, it was 3 people deep around the walls. You had to have 120 people in there.
Yeah.
They were all from the community.
Yep.
Just to come and say, what is this? Or we're glad you're here, or learn about it. I think that the community sees what you're trying to do and they're supporting it.
Yeah.
Evans, you're debt free.
Yeah.
How many people came through the open house last week?
Yeah. We wish we could go back and start counting.
Yeah, we talked about that.
We estimated close to 800 people showed up for the community tours, and then for the program itself, we were able to get at least over a 300 person count within the facilities, the chapel space, the cafeteria, overflow space. So quite a few showed up.
Well, I think you're accepted.
Yeah.
We have a lot of work to do. I mean, it's just getting started.
Yeah.
And I appreciate your time today. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
You're most welcome. How can people get a hold of you? How do they find your website? What information do they need to share and to look up?
Yeah. They can come down to the shelter. We have our administrative building that's will be available business hours.
Address?
At 419 Snake River Avenue, Lewiston, Idaho, 83501.
Big black fence. Can't miss it.
Yeah, yeah. And that big, beautiful, old school sign.
Yes.
Yeah, you'll see it. Yeah. And so if you have any questions, you want to stop by, we can schedule public tours as well throughout the facility. We don't typically do them on drop-ins, but we would love to schedule them. And then if you're interested in volunteering with us, every second and fourth Tuesday of the month, this is all on our website as well at uniongospelmission.org. But every second and fourth Tuesday of the month, we have what is called a volunteer overview. And that gives a lot of our background, our history, how to get involved, what it looks like to be a volunteer with us. And that on the second Tuesday of the month, that's at 5:30 p.m. at our shelter. And in the fourth Tuesday of the month at 10:30 a.m. at the shelter. So 5:30, second Tuesday, 10:30, fourth Tuesday.
Okay. Website, UGM.com?
Yep. Uniongospelmission.org.
.org.
Yeah. Yep.
Your energy is captivating and infecting.
Yeah,
So
thanks, Mark.
I'm excited to get to know you more. We need to talk more again.
Absolutely.
I appreciate it.
I look forward to it.
Thank you, everybody. That concludes another episode of Elevation 740, produced by Jetta Media and hosted by myself, Mark Losh, the CEO of the LC Valley Chamber of Commerce. Please stay tuned for our next Elevation 740 podcast coming to you soon. Thank you very much.